The sun hung low over the Arizona territory, turning the cliffs to molten gold. Heat shimmered off the sand like a fever, and the wind carried whispers of distant coyotes. The cowboy rode slow, his horse tired from days on the trail. He wasn't headed anywhere in particular, just away. Away from the last town, away from the graves he couldn't visit anymore. The land stretched wide and empty, a place for men who had nothing left but dust and silence. He tugged his hat lower against the glare, his eyes scanning the canyons like a man searching for ghosts. As he rode deeper into the ravine, a sound reached his ears, faint, broken, like the cry of a wounded animal. He pulled up his reins. The horse flicked its ears uneasy. The sound came again, carried by the wind, human this time. He swung down, boots sinking into the hot sand, and followed it toward the rocks. There, tangled in brush and shadow, lay a woman. Her skin was streaked with dirt and sweat, her leg pinned beneath a fallen log. She looked up, eyes sharp even through the pain. She was Apache. Her braids were undone, beads scattered around her like fallen tears. Blood soaked the earth where her leg twisted beneath the weight of the tree. She clutched a broken spear, ready to fight even as her strength waned. The cowboy froze. He'd seen Apaches before, sometimes from a distance, sometimes across the barrel of a rifle, but never like this. Not one trapped and helpless, yet still defiant. For a heartbeat, they just stared at each other, two strangers caught between mercy and mistrust. "Leave me," she rasped, voice hoarse. "I'm meant to die here." The words carried both pride and surrender, the voice of someone who had stopped expecting kindness. He stepped closer, shaking his head. "Not today, ma'am." She tried to push him away weakly, but her hands trembled. He set his rifle down beside him and examined the log. It was heavy, wedged deep into the dirt. He tested it once, too heavy to lift. Still, he dug his boots in and tried again, gritting his teeth as his muscles strained. The sun dipped lower, shadows stretching long and thin across the canyon floor. Sweat poured down his temples. The woman's breathing grew shallow. Twice he stopped to wipe his brow, his hands raw from gripping splintered wood. "You're wasting your strength," she muttered. "You don't even know me." He glanced at her, dirt streaking his face. "Don't need to." With a grunt, he pressed his shoulder under the edge of the log and pushed. The earth shifted. Rocks rolled. Finally, with a crack, the weight gave way, and the log rolled aside. She gasped as blood rushed back to her leg, the pain twisting through her body. He caught her before she fell, easing her down gently. Her breath came in ragged bursts. For a moment, neither spoke. Only the sound of wind through the canyon filled the silence. Then she whispered, "You should have left me." He looked down at her, mud, blood, and fire all mixed in her gaze. "I ain't built that way," he said softly. She didn't understand him fully, but she saw the truth in his eyes. He tore strips from his shirt and bound her wound as best he could. His fingers were gentle but sure, the hands of a man used to fixing broken things, horses, fences, himself. She winced but didn't cry out. When he was done, he helped her sit up and gave her water from his canteen. She drank slowly, her lips trembling. "Why help me?" she asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. He leaned back on his heels, staring out at the horizon. "Because I ain't learned how to quit yet." They rested beneath the cliffs as night fell. The air cooled, stars cutting through the darkness one by one. He built a small fire, keeping it low to avoid drawing attention. She watched him with wary eyes, still not sure whether to trust him. He offered her a piece of jerky, and after a long pause, she took it. "You from a tribe?" he asked carefully. She said nothing, only turned her gaze toward the stars. He didn't press her. In the Wild West, some stories were better left buried in the sand. He wrapped his blanket around her shoulders and leaned against a rock. "You can sleep," he said quietly. "Ain't no one gonna hurt you tonight." She looked at him for a long time, before finally closing her eyes. He watched the firelight dance across her face, the sharp cheekbones, the dirt streaked across her jaw, the quiet strength that still lingered there. She wasn't just surviving. She was fighting. Somewhere deep down he admired that. Somewhere deeper it scared him, because he knew what it felt like to lose everything and still keep breathing. The night stretched long. Coyotes howled in the distance, and the fire crackled low. The cowboy stayed awake, rifle resting across his lap. When the wind picked up, he added another stick to the flames, careful not to wake her. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, maybe more trouble than he could handle, but for the first time in months, he didn't feel alone. As dawn crept over the canyon, painting the rocks gold again, he realized he hadn't saved her just to ease his conscience. He'd done it because saving her gave him a reason to keep going. When she stirred in the morning, her eyes opened to find him still there, hat tipped low, staring at the horizon. "You stayed," she said quietly. He smiled faintly. "Ain't no sense leaving halfway through a good deed." She didn't smile, but something in her gaze softened, a flicker of gratitude, maybe even trust. He helped her to her feet, slow and steady. Her leg still hurt, but she could stand. She touched his arm for balance, and for a moment, they both froze, two worlds colliding in a moment of fragile peace. By the time they mounted his horse, the sun had risen high again, blazing across the desert sky. He settled her behind him, careful of her leg, and clicked his tongue. The horse started forward, its hooves kicking up dust. She held on lightly, her fingers brushing the edge of his coat. Neither spoke as they rode toward the distant horizon. But in that silence something unspoken passed between them, an understanding born not from words, but from survival. Two strangers, bound by one simple truth. In a land that took everything, kindness was the rarest thing of all. The cabin sat lonely on the edge of the Red River, half swallowed by dust and time. Its roof sagged, the windows were patched with rags, but to them it felt like sanctuary. The cowboy built a fire, the smoke curling lazily through a crack in the chimney. He didn't speak much, he just worked, moving with a quiet steadiness that comforted her more than words ever could. He cooked beans over the fire, boiled coffee strong enough to sting the tongue, and when her fever rose, he sat beside her, wiping her brow until sleep took her again. At first, she couldn't look at him without fear. Every sound, the creak of the door, the rustle of boots, set her heart racing. Too many men before had meant pain, but this one was different. He didn't demand anything. He didn't ask where she came from or what had happened. He simply made sure she lived. Days stretched into nights, marked only by the crackle of the fire and the steady rhythm of his breath. Somewhere between silence and sunrise, her fear began to fade. She learned his name one morning when he was mending a saddle outside. "Cole," he said simply when she asked. Just Cole. It fit him, solid, unadorned, dependable. She told him her name was Ayana, though she hadn't spoken it aloud in months. He repeated it once under his breath as if trying it on. "Ayana," he said softly. Pretty name. She didn't smile, but something in her chest warmed. She realized then that he wasn't just healing her wounds, he was reminding her what it felt like to be seen. As the days passed, she grew stronger. She began walking around the small clearing near the cabin, leaning on a branch he'd carved into a makeshift cane. He watched her quietly from the porch, always ready to catch her if she stumbled. Sometimes he'd fix the fence or chop wood, pretending not to notice her watching him, but he always knew she was there. Their silence was no longer awkward. It was full of understanding, built from shared pain and unspoken gratitude. One night, when the desert wind howled against the cabin walls, she told him the truth. She'd been hunted, not by soldiers, but by men who hated her tribe. They'd burned her home, killed her family, and left her for dead. Cole listened without interruption, his jaw tight, his eyes reflecting the firelight. When she finished, there was a long pause. Then he said quietly, "You ain't alone anymore." Those words, simple as they were, broke something inside her, a dam holding back years of sorrow. After that, things changed. They spoke more often, trading stories over coffee in the mornings. He told her about his brother, about the war that took everything he had. She told him about her people, the dances, the laughter, the songs carried on the wind. Two worlds, once divided, found common ground in shared loss. She started to smile again, shy and fleeting at first. Sometimes he caught himself smiling too, forgetting for a moment the scars the past had left on both their souls. As spring bled into summer, the desert came alive. Cacti bloomed along the riverbanks, and the air smelled of rain. Ayana began to help around the cabin, gathering herbs, cooking, tending the horse. Cole tried to protest, but she only smiled and said, "You saved my life. Now let me live it." Her laughter filled the lonely place with something new, something like peace. He'd thought himself beyond redemption, just another drifter trying to outrun ghosts. But in her presence, even silence felt sacred. One afternoon, he returned from hunting to find her sitting on the porch, braiding a string of beads. "For you," she said softly, holding it out. It was rough, imperfect, but beautiful. He tied it around his wrist, his throat too tight for words. In that moment, he realized something he hadn't dared admit. He didn't want her to leave, not ever. The desert, once nothing but dust and memory, had given him something worth holding on to. Something real, but peace in the Wild West never lasted long. One evening, a group of riders appeared on the horizon, men with hard faces and cruel eyes. Ayana saw them first and went pale. "They're the ones," she whispered. Cole stepped forward, his rifle steady, his voice low. "Then they made a mistake coming here." When the riders reached the cabin, dust swirling around their boots, their leader sneered. "That woman don't belong with you, cowboy. Step aside." Cole's eyes were cold as iron. "Ain't happening." The standoff stretched tight as a drawn bow. Then a shot rang out. Cole fired back, dropping one of them clean from his horse. The rest turned tail, scattering into the canyon. Smoke hung in the air, the echo of gunfire fading into silence. Ayana rushed to him, her hands trembling. "You could have died," she whispered. He wiped the sweat from his brow and gave her a crooked smile. "Would have been worth it." For the first time since he'd found her, she let herself cry, tears of fear, relief, and something deeper. That night neither of them spoke much. The danger had passed, but something between them had changed. She sat beside him by the fire, her head resting lightly against his shoulder. He didn't move, just let the warmth of her presence seep into him like sunlight after years of cold. Outside, the desert was quiet again, the stars bright as diamonds scattered across black velvet. "I was ready to die," she whispered again. He turned to her, his voice low. "Then I guess we both learned something about second chances. When morning came, the world was washed in gold." Ayana stepped outside, the breeze lifting her hair as she looked toward the river. Cole joined her, hands resting easy at his belt. "What now?" she asked. He smiled faintly, eyes fixed on the horizon. "Now we live," she nodded, her hand brushing against his. It wasn't a promise spoken aloud, but it was one that would last. Together they walked down to the river, where sunlight danced on the water like a blessing. In the wild heart of the Arizona desert, two lost souls had found more than refuge. They'd found redemption. The cowboy, who thought he'd already seen the end of his road, and the woman who had once chosen death over despair, now stood side by side, alive in a world that had nearly broken them. The land was still harsh, the future uncertain. But as they watched the river flow, they both understood. Sometimes the hardest journeys lead not to escape, but to home.